So I'd be like,
Literally at your house.
So, my gosh, how can you look at that?
it's God's will. Yeah, oh, it's a stand your ground law. Stand your buffet. Wait. So the whale's like as long as this room?
Yeah.
From here to here? To the door. Okay, so the shark was like as long as that row of chairs?
I would say from me to you,
Wow.
and as wide as three of those chairs.
That is?
Huge.
What have you?
Oh my god, that's gigantic.
That's what their teeth. I'm just like. Real nature doesn't care about you. Nature doesn't care if you're cute or really talented or you have like a really important job. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone. How's it going? Good. Thumbs up. Do we have a good first day? Yeah. Really good first day? Yeah. Can we have a big hand of applause for your amazing teachers? In fact, why don't we do a wave? I'm saying that as if it just occurred to me, as if I don't do this every single Monday for the last 9 weeks. But please indulge me, it gives me a lot of pleasure. Can we do a wave in celebration of your teachers? Let's start over here. Can we start, do a wave if you can stand up? Or just even, or not even stand up. Let's all the wave, the wave, the wave. That was awesome! Wasn't that fun? It's just showing the love for our teachers who are so amazing. I'm so grateful that you're here. Okay, that's the last time I have to do that until 2025. So thank you for bearing with me. This is the last week of summer workshops. It's kind of amazing that we've been doing this for 2 months already, and here we are to close it. I'm just happy there's such a great group here this week, and it's a great way to go out. My name's David Simpson. I'm still the program director here at the Fine Arts Work Center, at least for now. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm just really glad you're here. Best part of the week, the best part of the week, nothing against the faculty talks. Don't take this the wrong way. Best part of the week is student night, bar none, right? Is that correct? Who's been here for workshops before? How much do we, I won't ask you to do another wave, I promise. How fabulous are student nights? Really great? Yeah. It's, I almost always almost cry. I never quite cry because I'm a WASP and we don't do that. But I almost always almost cry. So, but it's a great night. I'm a little delirious because we are 9 weeks in, so please bear with me. Tonight we have a great lineup for our faculty talks. Enough about me and my neuroses. We have poet Samiya Bashir and writer and graphic novelist Nicole J. Big hands. And I'm so happy I said your name correctly because there's about 50-50 chances that I wouldn't have, so I'm glad I got it. Samiya's going to read from her work. Nicole's going to read from her work. There may be some slide presentations involved. I'm not sure, but I'll find out any second because Sarah knows and I don't have to, which is great. And then we'll do a Q&A with the audience, which is often a really interesting part of the conversation. So before we begin, a bit of housekeeping, other items of interest. Samiya and Nicole will both be signing books at the back of the room after the event, and books will be for sale from this week's faculty at the back of the room, not the event, at the end of the event, sort of like the back of the event. We also have some fabulous merch at the back, including a new T-shirt that I love. It's so great. Fatima, can you hold up the new T-shirt? It's really the new one. Yes, it's my favorite. It's so awesome. It's going fast. Ooh. You should really get one. Not now. After. But they'll be there, and we have all the sizes, I think. But they're going so fast, so we might not have all the sizes. So, yes, so books and merch. There are more books by other members of the faculty, former fellows, and other people with historic connections to the Work Center in the Book Center between the two halves of the gallery. And while you're at it, check out the current summer exhibition, which is wonderful. It's called Edge Condition, and it's curated by former Falk Fellow Matt Bollinger and features work of about 20-ish former fellows. It's really wonderful. And as always, I would like to give a big shout out to East End Books for managing the bookstore at the back. They're great partners, and if you have a chance, go check out their store down on Commercial. If you go down Pearl Street to the end where it dead ends at Commercial, turn left. It's just on the right-hand side, like 50 feet away. It's really great. Check it out. And I'd like to give a shout out also to our institutional partners, the Arts Foundation of Cape Cod and the Cape Cod 5 Foundation for so generously supporting our summer public programming. Restrooms are down the hall on the left-hand side. There's a water fountain and a water bottle filler just opposite the bathrooms. We have the cushions. Don't rush. It's okay. You don't have to get no judgment. They're really comfortable, so feel free to jump up and get one. There you go. Here's to Nicole for jumping. Right. I'm just validating. Here's validating for Nick too. Yay. You're getting the bark validation too. And I'll stop really soon, I promise. And then we also have assisted listening devices if that would make your experience more comfortable and enjoyable this evening. And we also have large print format printed versions of Samiya's work, right? At the back, if that would improve your experience tonight, just check with Sarah or Fatima, and they'll give you one. That's all from me. Please do the last thing that we always ask you to do. Turn your cell phones to silent so you're not that person, and so we can give our full attention to our presenters this evening. And now, to get started, I'd like to invite one of Samiya's students to the stage to introduce her. Please welcome to the stage. Oh wait, we're going backwards. See, I fucked it up. I don't do well with change just generally, and this was sprung on me at the last minute. I'm going to a whole other page. I'm going to go to this page. Yeah. Okay. We're going to bring up somebody to introduce Nicole. One of Nicole's students. Please welcome to the stage Stephanie Rudig.
Hi, everybody. I did not get to meet Nicole until the first day of class today, but I kind of feel like I got to meet a version of her from 2 decades ago by reading an anthology of her zine. Invincible Summer chronicled her daily life, from band gigs and roommate dramas to romance and chicken rearing. And I was struck by how her humor, her ability to spin the mundane into the marvelous, and how, for lack of a better term, how real her work was. But don't take it from me, take it from the high priestess of graphic novels herself, Alison Bechdel, who said of Nicole's first graphic memoir, Calling Dr. Laura, that it was disarming and sweet, haunting and hip, all at once. Nicole has racked up accolades and awards for her other work, including the podcast version of Calling Dr. Laura, titled Relative Fiction, Sagittarian Matters, which is a podcast that she hosts about queer art and vegan food, and her latest graphic memoir, Fetch, How a Bad Dog Brought Me Home. And speaking of, she is, you've already heard, joined by distinguished guest Ponyo the Chihuahua. So give Ponyo some respectful scratches if you see her. She also teaches in the MFA program of the California College for the Arts in the comics program, so she's keeping very busy. I'm here taking her graphic memoir class because I desperately need some expert guidance in my own comics work, and I wanted to unlock some of the same kind of sincerity and clear-mindedness that I see in hers. And from just one day in her laid-back and judgment-free class, I am already feeling so inspired and motivated and confident to tackle my own creative projects. And I've already learned a lot. And I can't wait to learn more from her this week and to hear more about her work tonight. Please welcome Nicole.
Do I have the clicker? Oh, I do. The dog is in this bag, and I'm just gonna leave the dog right there. Oh, great. I'm going to keep my own time, because generally when I'm up here after 5 minutes, I feel like it's been 20 minutes, and I'm like, I gotta go. And so I thought if I just kept time, then I would know what was really happening. Okay. Let's see. Uh-oh. I already messed up the clicking. Oh, the internet went out. Hold on, I'm stopping my time. I'll be reclaiming my time. I'm going to give you a preamble to the reading. I'm assuming that most of you have not read my book, Calling Dr. Laura. So I'm going to give you the gist, the log line. I will not do any huge spoilers. But, oh, hi, Joey. The internet's out, so I'm just doing a little beat poetry. So when I was 22, I went to a psychic for a palm reading for my birthday. My girlfriend at the time got it for me. She got a coupon out of the back of the Willamette Week in Portland. It was like 2 for $10 palm readings. And don't read that yet, because I still have to give you the preamble, so it's not going to make any sense. And the palm reader looked at my hand, and within like 5 minutes, she said, oh, I can see from this that you don't get along with your mom, and you should talk to your father more often. And I said, oh, well, I can't talk to him more often because he's dead. And she said, well, maybe the man you think is your father is dead, but your real father is very much alive. And at the time, I was like, who is this lady? Like, what are you talking about, lady from the back of the newspaper? But something got rung in my head, and it started to make sense. And a year later, I asked my sister if it was true, and she totally broke down and was like, it's true, I'm so sorry, I never told you, please don't hate me. And I never thought about hating her, but I did think about hating our mom, who had kept this secret for all that time. And, oh, Ponzi, you stay. And anyway, so I wrote this book, Calling Dr. Laura, about it. When I started writing it, my mom didn't have Google yet. As I was writing it, her best friend Debbie got Google. And I was like, damn it, Debbie. I put out the book, and that's kind of where this reading picks up. Okay. No, I don't want you to do that. Come out. Come on. No, all the way. It's a little bit like a tortoise. Okay. This is Amazon.com. One star. Sad story. I read this book and put it back on the shelf. If the dad knew where her family lived, why didn't he come find her? It's a one-sided story for sure and tells more about the author than about the people in it. That's my mom writing the review. Portland, Oregon. Oh, can you click that? If you click on like the right or left, it'll give you the option for a single screen. I can come back and do it if it. You got it? Okay. Portland, Oregon, 2013. This is right after my book came out. Coffee time. This is when Ponyo had two eyes. Don't get freaked out. Let me see. Treat. Ding. Mom, I saw your pitiful book about your pathetic life. Ding. You should have written a book about how much the Georges family loved you. Maybe I should write a book with the truth about you and your sisters. Just you wait. Ding, ding, ding. Pat, pat. Ugh. Later. It's dark outside now. Ugh. Missed call. Stepdad Al. I mean Ed. This is off to a great, this is going to go great on YouTube. Nicole, I forbid you to mention your supposed father to your mother ever again. You've already upset her enough with your so-called lifestyle. I'm gay. That's the so-called lifestyle. Excuse me, Ponyo. Fuck you! It's to my stepdad, not to the dog. The dog saying, see ya. Relative fiction. This is the book I'm working on that's kind of a follow-up to Calling Dr. Laura, and also the podcast I did. If you want to just spoil this book that's not going to be done for years, you can listen to the podcast called Relative Fiction. 1 week later, honk. Oh, please, fuck yourself. It's a crosswalk. Here's your punch card. Almost there. Thank you. Boba stabbing. Alano Club. We meet to share our experience of growing up in an environment where abuse, neglect, and trauma affected us. This affects us today and influences how we deal with all aspects of our lives. Who would like to share with us now? Anyone? Hi, I'm Nicole. Hi, Nicole. I did a thing this year that felt like the end of the world. I told the truth in public. I did a creative project about something my mother worked very hard to keep a secret. And my whole body feels like I'm in danger from her reaction, like I'm gonna die. Because when I was a kid, she had that power over me. My safety was connected to her moods. And my job was to protect her above all else, even when no one was protecting me. 6 years after this, I moved from Portland, Oregon to Los Angeles, California. It's like a rumspringa. I wanted to experience the sun before committing to 20 more years of rain. Is this mic okay? It's not too loud? Great. I was done, and this book is in progress, so you'll see some in-progress drawings. And then you just know. I was done with the pulpy newness of the dad story. I experienced it one step away as an art piece, a concept. C'est tragique. The reality was a private museum visited infrequently. I pitched it as a television show. Is this a good power pose? Bathroom of a Hollywood agency. I traveled and toured, performing parts whose talking points had scabbed over. How did your mom react to the book? Well, she gave it a 1-star Amazon review. Ooh. The book was so hard to make, to live and draw. I just wanted to do right by it and connect it with as many readers as possible. I felt very present and alive in Los Angeles, home with my chosen queer family. This is Beth Pickens, for those who know her. Do you want to speak at the Tuesday night support group at the Gay Center? Oh, sure. Also, I transitioned from a purse person to a fanny pack person based on hiking. I'm still trying to get the elder gay men there to see me as not a straight lady, so it'll be great. Bye, Bench. Call me every second. And just be sure to mention bumping tacos during your share on Tuesday. I will. Ponyo, it feels like we moved to vacation. The dad story had been put to rest. I sort of forgave my mother after many hours of therapy and radical acceptance. Now I could turn the page and absorb the light in Southern California. No more family detective work. I could just be. Then I got a Facebook message that would change my life again. Ding. I wanted to draw it as a ding, but the message didn't announce itself. It silently appeared and stood still, waiting for me to notice and acknowledge it. Dear Nicole, I'm not sure how to start this. I know my brother Daniel had a daughter named Nicole with a woman named Sabine Georges. Is she your mom? Then you might be my niece. Reminding you, I thought my dad was dead my whole life, so I knew, as far as I knew, his whole family was dead and didn't exist. My mom and I have tried to look up this child many times through the years. My mom, your grandmother Bonnie, she's an amazing lady, and I know it's going to thrill her to death to know this is really you. She's the one who came to me and said, I think this is our Nicole, after she saw an advertisement for my book. I called this woman my aunt. My grandmother, it turned out, lived 1 hour away from my new home. If I wanted to meet her, I didn't have much time. Your grandmother's 95, and she has stage 4 cancer. Oh no, but she's a fighter. I offered to drive her to chemo appointments, but no one took me up on this. Okay, well, just let me know. I really offered so many times, and everybody was like, we've never met. I grew up being told that not only was my father dead, but his mean, horrible family was also long gone. Nikki, why are you digging around in my trunk? I'm doing a family tree project for school. I have to bring in photos and, well, that trunk's a real mess. Let me help you so you don't have to dig around in there. Your dad ran away from home when he was really young. His family was awful. This is Kansas City, 1996. My family tree. Here you go. Thanks, Mom. No problem. Made up names, fake birth years. It's true. I found this. When we were doing the podcast, I found this, and it was all her handwriting, and it was all wrong information on purpose. I often tell my students that writing a hard graphic memoir is like being Frodo and putting on the ring. You're encompassed in screaming wraiths and old danger that no one else can see. And then you take it off, and you're shaken, stoned on the past, stumbling around with the veil of spooky writer's face until you acclimate again. You look weird. It's worth it, dislodging memory this way, wrangling it and giving it light outside of your psyche. It lives in this book now. But this is how it felt every time I got dad news. It pulled me into a haunted, disorienting place alone. I got a survivalist motto tattooed on my arm when I started drawing my book. I needed to go into the dark forests of my memory and practice getting home. I had to take it very slow and required a lot of space. But when I visited my father's widow, I found her on Facebook. She revealed, you have a grandmother out there. Her name's Bonnie. Yeah, she's got to be old now, but you know what they say, evil persists. Oh, Bonnie's a real spoon. A spoon? Yeah, she likes to stir things up. Nicole, she didn't even go to her own son's funeral. What? It was like a final slap in the face. Your dad deserved better than that. Yeah. Hold on, I have to make sure I'm looking at my time. My friend Beth offered to join me, but for no particular reason, I drove to Orange County to my grandmother's house alone with the dog. I was used to handling life this way. I'm here. I'll be back soon. Make yourself at home. Mom's resting. Hello? There's a scalding vulnerability to showing up as a new secret family member that few people will ever understand. For me, it was a combination of embarrassment at being tricked all these years and the last one in the room to know, and a naked neediness implied by showing up to an intact family as an orphan. Everyone knew something bad had happened to me, and we were starting on that foot. I didn't get to meet these people with my personality or accomplishments at the forefront, or even as a baby, everyone was excited to hold, but as a long-lost kid, half hoping this was home. Creak. I was welcomed immediately. It's you. Oh, you're so adorable. My aunts were taking turns flying to California to take care of their mom. I saw you're vegan. Do you eat kettle corn? Oh, yeah, I love it. Is this biology? Do we look alike? I sat in my grandmother's kitchen where my dad grew up. Both stranger and not, I tried to stay present as I was offered induction into my own lost family. Now let's see, what can I tell you about Daniel? Anything, I don't know much. Your father was so funny. He loved to tease. Oh, wow. And girls loved him. They'd call the house at all hours. Daniel, Daniel. He did not get along with his stepfather, so he left home early and joined the Navy. He drove a submarine with my husband, Dell. Then he got married to an 18-year-old who had your sisters, Susie and Stacy. Who? I knew about all these other people, some of them I had just met, and nobody in my family and their families had ever mentioned these girls. Oh yeah, they're your oldest sisters. Wow, he was prolific. Did anyone even know? Oh, your grandma's awake. Bark, bark. There wasn't time to absorb this. I had a grandmother to meet. Ponyo, no. Oh, it's okay. Arf, arf. Let's go outside. Sure, Mom, I'll get you two some water. My grandmother looked me over again and again, taking it all in, amused and glad. I've been looking for you your whole life. My whole life. I was important, a pleasure. It was a distinct whole-body feeling of warmth and recognition. Maybe I could have more from a family than just stories and biological breadcrumbs. I could have her. Every time your aunts left town and stayed at hotels over the years, I had them try to look up your mother in the phone book wherever they were. We never gave up trying to find you. Not here. Try Sibby and George's. In the 80s, there was no internet, and this is how you had to find people. After your mother took you to Florida, I tried to call you on the phone. She said I could hear your voice and say hello if I didn't say who I was. If you tell her who you are, you will never speak to Nicole again. Hello? I obeyed your mother. And I heard your little voice. Oh, hi. It tore me up to hear your voice and know I couldn't see you. I just did what I had to do. She told me not to tell you. But even so, I never heard your voice again until now. My mother changed my last name after that. Look what the lawyer sent. Boring. Your name change certificate. I wasn't asked or even a part of it. One day the papers just arrived and I no longer belonged to my father, just my mom. My dad's last name and then my mom's maiden name. But I went by my new stepdad's name at school in the doctor's office. I've heard that school records are a huge liability if you're trying to disappear. Changing a name twice is nice, but 3 can set you free. From a book called How to Disappear. We moved and moved, leaving that name and landing in Kansas with a new stepdad and a 4th last name and an adopted Italian ethnicity, but that's another story. Just imagine my mom being like, Mamma mia. She's Syrian. I think it really hurt Pete's feelings that you don't want him to adopt you. Oh, don't you want the same last name as us? No, I'm okay. I like my name. I'd never consider myself kidnapped, but being moved over and over across state lines, name altered and purposely alienated from my father does have a certain kidnapping ring to it. Parental alienation is a historically problematic legal argument abusive men have used to keep their exes close. I don't mean to condone the expression, but I didn't believe I was hidden for safety, just convenience. One time your father showed up at your grandfather's house. He was trying to find you. Where's my daughter? It's a total guess of what he said. Your grandfather and uncles threatened to beat him up and called the police. They probably made more of a veiled threat and less physical. They told him to never come back. They were all lawyers. He knew he couldn't stand up to that. But I always asked about you. I like to stay in touch with my grandchildren, so I always said, have you heard from Nicole? Where is that little girl? I was both hoarded and ignored, cherished and unsafe. Folded into the back window of my new stepdad's sports car that didn't have a back seat. Who knows if I would have had a better life with my dad, hunting and gambling, riding in the front seat of his sports car while he chain smoked and threw unopened bills in the back seat. I would have seen a strange reflection, but at least that's something. It's not perfect, but I could have known it. Instead, I grew up steeped in obfuscation, searching for my parts. I divorced myself from the reality of my body as a way to survive the physical distress of shame and chronic stomach problems. Long story. And with my mom's narrative, I was cut off from family via guilt and secrecy. I was cut off from the feeling of being whole. There's something so wrong with me that no one will even look. When a whole family's keeping a secret, they do like talk over your head a lot and make a lot of side eye. When you start to get close, they're like, you get a lot of this, and you're like, what is it? What did I do? I drove down the 101 to visit my grandma 2 more times that year, whenever I was home from book tour. Close your legs, Ponyo. It's not very ladylike to be all splayed out like that. Take some more succulents. Okay. She sent me home with bags of fat lemons from her tree and succulents propagated in old margarine tubs. That one's planter cost me an arm and a leg. See if you can bring it back to life. I'll try. As Bonnie raced to tell me everything about our family and make up for missing years of grandmothering, her disease progressed. Does blueberry sound good to you? I don't know, nothing does. Mango, blue raspberry? I laid in her bed, grandma bald and bloated with cancer, and tried to pick the best Jamba Juice for my cousins to retrieve. They'd been there all along. I tried to help them coax her into medical marijuana for her diminished appetite. I don't want to be a stoner. You won't turn into Bob Marley right away. It could really help. We could get you an edible. The last time I saw Grandma Bonnie, she was engrossed in my comic book, Anonymous Fuzzball. I peeked in and watched her taking a mental snapshot before cutting in. Bye, Grandma, I love you. I'll be back home in a couple weeks. Stick around till then, okay? I'll try. It was hard to know when to leave that night. We both knew it was probably the last time. I wasn't trying to run, but I had to go teach in Oregon. And just 4 days into my trip, ring, ring, hello? Hi, sweetie, it's your aunt. I'm sorry to tell you this, but Bonnie had passed. I pulled into a giant empty parking lot, and she found me one last time. Oh. 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 Well, you're never going to know, but it was a hummingbird came to this Target parking lot in the suburbs. There it is. Okay. Wait, let's see if there's something before. Oh, wow. Okay. In the middle of this barren concrete stretch, a hummingbird perched directly in front of my car. We stayed there looking at each other for a long time. Aunt Julie, you'll never believe what just happened. Hummingbirds were her animal. She was coming to say goodbye to you. Goodbye. The end.
Oh my God, we need some more applause for Nicole Georges. That was amazing. Thank you. I have goosebumps. More applause for that. Woo! Okay, that's enough. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. There's never enough. Thank you, Nicole. Now we're going to move on to Samiya Bashir and to introduce Samiya. Now I got to go back and we're going to want to see how Lisa Williams is going to come to the stage to introduce Samiya. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to introduce Samiya. Her workshop, I've just been there one day, and it's just been so incredible, and our whole group, her warmth and enthusiasm, I know, has really touched all of us and created this fabulous feeling between us, even in just one day, just 3 hours. She has so many accolades. Just briefly, she's called a dynamic shape-shifting machine of perpetual motion by Diego Báez. She's a poet, writer, librettist, performer, and multimedia poet whose solo and collaborative work has been widely published, performed, installed, printed, screened, experienced in Oxford Commerce, from Berlin to Düsseldorf, Amsterdam to Accra, Florence to Rome, and across the United States. Sometimes she makes poems of dirt, sometimes zeros and ones, sometimes variously rendered texts. She's been speaking to us about being multimedia, hybrid, multi-text, sometimes light. Samiya is the author of 3 poetry collections, most recently Field Theories, winner of the Oregon Book Award. Her honors include the Rome Prize in Literature, the Pushcart Prize, New York Council for the Arts, and Oregon's Regional Arts and Culture Council Fellowships, many awards, grants, residencies, a sought-after editor, I can see why, in just 3 hours of her class. Samiya most recently served as associate professor at Reed College and executive director of Lambda Literary. And she's currently a Columbia University visiting professor and lives in Harlem, New York City. Yay, I'm from New York City. So I have to give that a great shout out. Her description of this generative course from isolation to rejuvenation really caught my eye. I feel so fortunate because I teach at Ramapo College in New Jersey, and they have something called faculty development, career development, and they sent me here and had me choose a course, any course all 9 weeks, to really, help me become better, a better teacher, a better writer. And when I read Samiya's description, I was like, wow, this is totally for me. And I feel so honored that Samiya is not just a master poet, but also a master teacher. So I'm honored to be in her class, and here is Samiya.
Old, left thawed, left bent into the yop, ass up. Let be, let air, bones, unknowns, ash everywhere. Curved space, dark breath, dark breath. Dark. What? Sold for bluff on blind. Left choked. Left down. Left bent. Left past. Catch. How a body grabs a body. Hungry. Even Jesus let his baker's dozen fend for themselves once they got to snipping and sipping too comfortably, according to the literature. Jesus, that first bite, it's sharp, it's ink, it's nectar. Well, build a fort and fill it with maple trees gone gaudy, with cobalt wishing stones. We'll crawl inside and imagine how maybe we still laugh. Fuck Orpheus. And fuck them for loving him, for not loving who we love when we're the ones down here rotting in hell. Huh? Music? Anyone ever really heard us sing? Let's move this. Anyone ever ask? Even so, we sing all day. Even so, we pass our days whatever ways we can. We know some folk don't listen. Just look and trace. Look. What is a thing of beauty if not us? Bear where a clothespin clips a nose, a breath is held a tilt. Bear it that keep walking toward light. Right? Wait. We'll ask them to name something blue, and maybe they'll say popsicle tongue, broken finger, black eye. Easy enough to say you. Don't. What does anyone out here know of us? How our tar-stained wings hide what ergot saddles we ride, how between our teeth we mash the fur of maritime beasts. Still, some folk never thank us to manifest their pleas. Yet, what is the thing of beauty if not us? Repeat. Dark. Breath. Dark. Breath. Dark. Things we do as we slowly turn blue. Lead laser dots through another chalk outline. Pick up today's Halloween dress. Cry at commercials. Obey. Pay. Defense Department rates for a sandwich. Unremember memorable jingles. Jaw sandwiches that taste just like sandwiches. Figure we can't expect much more than that. Don't.
Don't.
Some slaves only get free enough to crouch in Kentucky foxholes with Cincinnati just over one last swift river. Our own acrid smell finally wakes us. Eras. Half woke, slow roll through the wet spot. Panic. Floor. Hard. Years. The worst kiddie porn. We'll never say we see. Bottles. Cans. Pizza box hotels. Crusty burrito bits. Razor blades. Mirror shards. Cat puke. Half a joint. Shuffled match. Broken brick. Bloody steps. Lit joint. Burnt fingers. Better. Wash the hair. Don't wash the hair. Wash the hair. Don't wash the hair. Wash the hair. Don't wash the hair. Oh, no time. Late as fuck. Strip the bed. Consider the stains. Don't. The murk we blow to cool. The slop and bang we curse. The hum of incandescence. The lip burns we nurse. The best skin of our lives. The best skins of our lives. What is a thing of beauty, if not us? Repeat.
So, thanks. So that was a mashup of things happening in the world of my art and poetry as sung to by the poem, the title poem of this book, Field Theories. So I open with Field Theories, and I'm going to close with Field Theories. And in the middle, I'm going to have the gooey, marshmallowy, nougaty center of the new book that comes out in the spring. It's called I Hope This Helps. Because I hope it helps. And somehow I've tried to make a book out of multiple media. There's weird QR codes in there because you might need to find a song. There's a whole website. There's all sorts of weird things with video. And as you see, things happen. If you happen to be in New York City, I Hope This Helps is also an installation poem at the Africa Center on 5th Avenue and 110th Street, extended through the end of August, so go check it out. I'm going to start with the first-ish opening poem. It's called Per Aspera. And I've taken this from a very well-known saying, Latin. It's ad astra per aspera, to the stars through difficulty. It's on the moon. It's also, I think, the state motto of Kansas. Listen, we ain't all well. This world spins designs which madden us, shape us like dough, bake us crisp. There may be those who will crumble us into paving for their own roads. Listen, we must not let them, but also love. We aren't all well. We can't all resist as well as we might. We can't all fight enough or at all, and I can't say how we heal. I wish I could. I would. I'll try. Thank you. Here's the thing. So here's the thing is something that I was at the Fine Arts Work Center in what must have been August 2019 when I got a phone call from the Washington Chorus commissioning a piece with a composer, a choral piece with an orchestra and a choir and all this greatness. And it was supposed to open there. They had a new composer, a new artistic director. It was supposed to open his first season, fall of 2020. So, it exists as a libretto for a really beautiful full choral and orchestral piece that's never been played in full. But to get there, I had to make this poem. The libretto was, I really do believe that poetry is this thing here that we, and like, you know, this is what I call the ink on tree form delivery system. This will get the poem to you. You can make it, and let's go. Now we may have a poem. But that's not the poem. It's not like this, like ink. And so we had to have a poem, and then we made this thing. And when the book comes out, you'll see we did do a really interesting, in 2021, truncated version with just piano and some voice. And hundreds of people in their little rooms on Zoom singing. Here's the thing. Things fall apart. I am sort of sleeping, then I am on fire, undone, burned. Stripped of skin, I feel so raw these days, flattened, full of doubt, numb. Rats thrive in sewers, so maybe I'm thriving. It may seem simple enough, but my dreams don't say so. This, I think, I know. No one notices me. Lost, alone, blind as a sewer rat, 6 feet back, gelatinous, raw as a baby rat, shook, underdone, 2 full rats still hungry, rich rat swimming sewage, breadline rat, baker rat, transformed, stuck in a well, thriving, burned into brick road, a milepost, sign. Triumphant! I scream, but words burn like sky fire. Clammy, street rat, fell in a hole, stuck in a well. I rattle the cages of our children. Everywhere else is empty. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I know the meaning of a moment like ours. Burning. I'm almost sure I'm here. Transformed, torn apart, average, boring, humdrum, numb. No sound stays innocent. I am fluent in fire, fluent in indigo miseries. I am fluent in the absence of heat. A rat on the street, sudden and melt. I am fluent in how time presses a body. Here's the thing I'm not supposed to say. I saw others skulk the dark like me. Simple enough. I skulk away a little more each day. Maybe there's intelligent life, but I'm not it. How will we survive this, having a body, trying to be intelligent life? Fireballs struck and stuck. I study the crows who know this, having a body to fly. Almost a dream. A sign you're not supposed to notice, a path. Who can I be? Blame the apocalypse. It's melt, it bends, it never ends. Thing is, things fall apart every day. The end of the world is now again. Normal. I burn and remember having a body, how it feels cold If I hold no beauty in this slapdash world, then tuck me away from the heat of the day. Alone, I burn. Blame the humdrum numbness of the end of the world. I listen for the wind. Intelligent life, where is it? No sound in innocent means. Root, way. I am not saying I'm a prophet, but I always travel slightly singed, pressed by time. 6 feet back, I find the me who's tall as a gum tree, the me with copper hair, causeway me, opening, expanse. Eyes open, heart full of doubt. I strike my fireballs and burn, sort of dreaming, now volcano, now oil-slicked river, stripped of skin, fluent in the press of time, body clammed, voice raw in syrup stripped, eyes open, sewer rat, thriving, no sound stays innocent, rats, footpath, corridor, clearing, and yes, the bushes burn like sky fire, and I decide to survive. Claim every sunrise. I am dark as earth. Now I am me with the bright yellow hair. Me with a normal girth. Wait. Normal. Do I know that word? Did I ever? Is it normal to hang from a tree? Is normal inability to breathe? Are normal these panic attacks? Does normal stand whole, bodies backed, tucked away from the heat of the day? Listen for how to survive this body. Face twisted, slightly singed, fueled by my own crisped flames, condemned. I know the meaning of a moment, but here's the thing. Am I intelligent life? How could I tell? The crows know. I know I'm not road, I'm doorway. And when things fall apart again, I'll be here, my rectangular shade of blue. I'm not supposed to talk about transformation, though. Not the me with the hollow cheeks. The me with the blood-red stride, fluent in the need to dance. Me with 14 moles in 14 places here, having a body. Me with 3 nose rings. Normal. I grasp for a branch. Normal. I thrive. Gutter rat. Me with the war wounds. Who else can I be? The quiet burning of stars. The crows know. Okay. 2 pieces from the new book and a very, very short closing. Are there any Swifties out here? That's a real question. Well, yes, okay. Come on with the 2 for 2-fer. Appreciate you. No. So, and I say that like, I'm totally not a Swiftie. So I don't say that like to be like, me too, but I say that to be like, what? That's awesome. Because I was challenged in a way that I was just like, no, that's ridiculous. And then I did it, and I was like, oh, I can't stop doing this. To write this weird poem responding to this Taylor Swift song. And at the moment, at the time, I was asked to do this. Like, you could have played a Taylor Swift song and had a gun to my head. I wouldn't have known. I would have just died. But, and I have so many little Swifties I know in the world. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good for you. Right on. But yeah, I get it. This is called Wabenzi Walks. And Wabenzi is a word that, like, Google it. Yeah, that's all I'm just going to say. Yeah. Don't even get me started. Because voices, like bodies, shadow, linger, and are torn apart and linger, are torn apart and linger like the 1,000 eyes of night. A scorpion, a Cuyahoga, a river burns awake. Cries that were the mom, not the kid. But wait, we are not a fairy tale. Even fairies fail our families. Sometimes somewheres. Why did you leave? Years ago, Metric's Combat Baby was all over my face feed. At the time, it was right on time, and all I wanted was to remain unlooked at. Even today, sort of just like other people. Here's the thing. I don't want to hold you, dear. I don't even want to hold on to you. Why should I? Have you seen me? Lucky, lucky. Though I hope you are held, well, just also. Point of privilege, says the board of directors, directing all the women how to brush their hair in mirrors on film. Why didn't you leave? Low-priced luxury goods, click like. But wait, no kings, no horses, ideally, no men, fire emoji. We eat ourselves until we're gone. Well, I do. How about you? Fire emoji. And the colored girls click like, 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 frowny face emoji. See me. I'm listening. Here you are. Yes, you here. A night flight lit from my fire. Asleep while I need to dance. Fire emoji. Look at you. You. Hear you. Cut R. Hear me. Shh. Listen. Repeat. Footsteps. Listen. Repeat. So I will close with a poem, and I will finish off, I hope this helps, with a poem that was giving lockdown. And it's called Some Days of Wine and Pastry. Blah, 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 there was a plague. Again. Gwen called it better than the alternative, to live. You'd never know so many of us do, despite ourselves. Everyone has a story. When June asked what we should do, those of us who did not die, I imagined what she'd say if I answered, lie around drunk and bake bread, make cookies, never quite spread the tight space that crushes us. Put my foot in the grass, press toward grounding. Pull back flesh like hot ice on the boiled side of melt. It was cold, it was hot, it blazed, and that was before the never-ending today of plague ran viral. Everywhere people with all the anger, all the guns feel outnumbered. Listen, they are. I guess we're just supposed to talk about all this bullshit now. But the leaves this autumn, incredible. How they too flaunt flames deep into December, like they know how fast we forget our own spilled blood. Walk beneath the canopy of me, see how I hover, how I don't so much block light as scatter light, how I kitten yarn batter light. As Faufier would say, if for just one day we didn't have to earn, for just one day, then who do we want to become? Brown and green, and recent rain wet sets everything alight like the untoward way raindrops flash and prick each bit of waning light. When I come back around and meet myself after all this baking in the new dark, do I just assume, June, that I can remember to swim or let the current pull me down again? Here we insist today did not happen here through all of today's happenings here. That feeling when you know horrible things happen, but you can't remember them. That feeling when you remember horrible thing after horrible thing, and still you think, nope, that's not the one. That feeling when there's nothing left but feeling, no thought, just paralysis and feeling. That feeling when there's nothing left to feel and nothing in the lap for breakfast. So it turns out I'm allergic to society as a whole. When in doubt, they say, go back in time. When I want to feel safe, I figure I should want something else. Everywhere I go, everyone I see could be a shooter, and my breasts beneath bulletproof vests squeeze the breath out of me. Tomorrow is another country. Even there, the philosopher's stone ain't stone. Bottoms out unexpectedly. I can't forget water while I drown, so why does today's silence engulf so unseen and unsmelled? And even then, tomorrow is not even there. Maybe this quiet is a star. Our outer space treaties are older now than my whole generation. Just as outdated, just as orbited by garbage and left to rot with our every epizootic breath. It is our leaders, he say what it is. In Rome, I had a red feather boa. I tickle your nose with my loosey-goosey feathers. I ruled the stage, honey. Long gone now. How it blazed.
I was thinking, tough act to follow. Act followed. Amazing. Can we get you both back up here with your Q&A?
Aren't we all?
Oh yeah, my baggage you can see. Here. Thank you. She'll bark into it if you. Good job.
So as
You really killed it.
as always, can we just wait till, if you have a question, wait till Fatima or Sarah get to you at the microphone so our people watching at home can hear your questions.
Hi, everyone. Hi at home.
Hi.
Who has a question for our amazing presenters?
Sorry. Oh, thank you. Hello. I'm Melanie. I'm an English teacher in France. Thank you so much. It was really enjoyable. I have a question for Nicole Georges. Did you used to journal before you started writing? And my next question would be, what would you advise young students to do if they want to start telling their own stories the way you do? Sorry for the two questions.
I've been keeping a diary since I was a kid and drawing since I was a kid. And then at some point they just would happen together. You know, because I have a trick in my head where it feels more expedient to just draw something. I'm like, oh, I don't want to write about how that room looked. I can just draw it. But then the trick is it actually takes twice as long to draw it than it would to just write it. But it feels that way. It feels, oh, it's more expedient to do it this way. So I've been keeping journals the whole time. And and then publishing my own zines, which is something I would tell people to do, is publish your own stuff and not just like putting it on your Instagram. Don't do that. But actually publish a comic, like photocopy a comic, a zine, go to a comics festival, give them to people. It's like, this is my thing. And I would say, you know, if you can, look up Linda Berry. She has a book called Making Comics, and I teach from that book. I love that book. A lot of my books were built on exercises by her. She's a cartoonist and a MacArthur Genius Fellow, and she teaches at the University of Wisconsin. She's wonderful. I think that's it. And also just be really nice to your drawings. And remember, they're not supposed to look like anyone else's drawings. There's not, at some point I was talking to my friend and I was like, well, I'm not like the best cartoonist. She's like, well, who's the best cartoonist? Why would your stuff look like that person's stuff? And I was like, I don't know. Isn't it supposed to look like Alison Bechdel's stuff? She's like, no, my stuff just doesn't look, so it's just kind of having a moment of acceptance of being like, oh, my stuff doesn't look like someone else's stuff because I'm not that person. And letting your drawings be what they are. And just draw a lot.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
That Linda Barry book is great for poets too, just saying.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Do both of you have a particular writer or artist, or maybe a couple that you go to when you're like, want to get all revved up to do your work? You know, that makes you feel like, yes, I want to be in conversation with them, or they give me the bug and make me want to do it.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I definitely turn to Toni Morrison's interviews because she goes off on motherfuckers, and I love it. I love it. I live. Because people come at her with the stupidest questions, and she's like, and then just lays the carpet out with all of the truth of the world. You know, my former teacher and mentor, June Jordan, who was mentioned in that last poem, is kind of definitely somebody I return to all the time. I'm actually teaching her class this fall at Columbia. I'm really excited to like create another version of that poetry for the people, because I really believe in it. So yeah, there are so many, but yeah.
I think Linda Barry, like I said, her comics. Her comics, and then John Porcellino is a cartoonist that does a comic called King Cat, and it's deceptively simple. It's very beautiful. I actually got a King Cat tattoo this year to remind me of it. But that's a comic that I can read, and I just feel really connected and like I want to draw. And I think it's important to find that line. Like, there's some people whose art I like, but it doesn't make me feel inspired. It makes me feel scared and upset. It's like intimidated.
Shut down.
Yeah, where I'm like, I don't, oh God. But then there's some people whose art I read it and I'm like, right on. Yes, 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 yes. Like, I want to ride that vibe, or there's something about it that makes me want to join them and draw too.
Yeah, note I said Toni Morrison's interviews. Her work, her writing is phenomenal, but it's not like I read that and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Let me write something.
Hello. My question is for Samiya. I'm just wondering what your writing process is like, or at least for me hearing the work, it was like I know a lot of poets who work on trying to get their words to exist in the world as like a thing that's not just on the page. And I definitely had that, a sort of like visual transportative experience with your work. And so I was just wondering if, not to make it about me, this is a question for you, but I was just wondering what you're writing, if you have a visual writing process, or if it's more sonic, or...
I like those options, thanks. I mean, it's so interesting because, you know, even the idea of wanting my words to live on, like even the words I feel like are a delivery system for the poem. Mm-hmm. You know, the language is a music, and, you know, the words are all the notes that we get to play in so many different ways, and some are sharp and some are flat and some are chords, and then you have all of this options and opportunities. And in English, though, the English language, oy vey, it's literally just like the language of capital and commerce. How to squeeze poetry out of it is absolutely devastating. But there's a challenge in that too, right? And also we live in an empire of capital and commerce. So it's the right language, you know? And in terms of kind of process, like, do I write at 10 a.m.? No. I sometimes do. I generally am, I used to be an up all night kind of person, but then I got a little old and had to start going to bed. It's really weird. Yikes. But really, it's kind of like, I think one of the things that also has happened is I really knuckled down on writing by hand more than anything. And there's something about the portability of that. Even though I have like 9,000 iPads or something, I get the tiniest thing, but no, I need a notebook with a pen, and then I can deal with whatever that is after that. Because again, like, there's something about machine-mediated creation around poetry. Like, I believe in machine-mediated creation. Don't get me caught up with the digital artists. But like, for the poetry that I'm making, there's something more ephemeral there that I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love working by hand. There's just something about it. It just is it's an activity.
Yeah.
And it hits a different part of your brain.
Yeah, it absolutely, and it gets you out of your head, too. You know, I mean, I do a lot of timed writing, and you know, with folks, and there's something about like, nope, actually, you gotta use a pen, and a paper, or a pencil, or a feather, whatever you use, and it just gets through your body in a different way, so that you can't try to fix it in the middle of making it quite so easily. It's like, stop trying to fix. No, make it first. You know. Yeah.
We were just talking today in class about you don't edit while you're writing.
Yeah.
It's just so using a timer helps you bypass that editor. If you're prone to edit as you're writing, if you have just a limited amount of time, you have to just rush past. I'm sorry, I don't have time to talk to you right now, editor. We'll have to talk later. We just got to get this down.
Well, my question has something very similar. Hi. In a similar vein, I'm curious what you both think about dictation and using, recorded methods to, like, how does that resonate with either of you, doing that kind of embodied method of like speaking it and then revisiting it either as audio or as text that a computer then writes, which can be challenging too, but just curious about that.
I don't, that's not my preferred way. I had a moment, like this whole book about my grandma, I wrote on a walk. I was on a hike and I was dictating it into my phone. It just came to me and I started dictating on this hike. And then I was like, I just wrote a book. But actually then it's like double homework, because if I just sat down to write it, draw it, as you're I don't know how this is with poetry, but for writing, drawing, comics, you see more stuff as you go. Like as you're working with the page, you see more stuff that you wouldn't have noticed before just when you were writing a sentence. And so I found I actually had to go back and then like rewrite or add a lot more, or I almost had narrated my way past the little moments in my comics that are like the sticky kind of like conversation or little slice of life moments, because I had narrated my way out of it by just saying the bullet points of the story kind of. And so at least for comics, it was hard to do that, because the writing and drawing has to physically come together for me at the same time to show the complete emotion and story.
Yeah. I feel like I regularly want to be that girl. I feel like, man, it'd be so easy if I just hit dictate and then blah, 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 blah. It never turns out right. It always frustrates me. I am a person that lives on the road, on the highway. Like, I've tried recording stuff in the car that I feel like I could have written 10 books in the car at this point. But you can't hear it. Like, I've tried various microphones, and it's just never a thing. And also, when I get to recording, then I want to do something with sound. So I get completely distracted in the sound of the thing and want to play with that. But I say that going probably every day. I'm like, I wish I could just go blah, 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 and it would write down what I'm trying to say. But I'm forever frustrated by the tech of it. So.
I mean, I do think if for like an accessibility purpose, wonderful. It's like such a gift, too. But yeah, sometimes it just makes more work if it's not your mode.
It's kind of like this way that machines just, they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Like, you know, it's like, I said, well, you know, we're going to be talking about rhythm tomorrow a little bit. And there's like something about this idea of like the beat and the stress and that the machine just doesn't get. And it doesn't understand when that sentence might be finished, even prematurely. It doesn't understand when I said and, not and. It doesn't understand, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, so it's just, it's very much kind of like bringing a glove to a duel. I challenge you to a duel, but you forgot the gun. Now you're just like, I challenged you, and you're like, oh, oops. Now I guess I'm just gonna go pew pew, but that doesn't do anything.
Well, that's the thing. Poetry and comics have this thing in common of you can kind of manipulate how fast or slow people are reading different parts by how much space you give them. And that's something that I need to experience on the page as I'm composing it. It's like, oh, this is a big emotional moment. I need to pause for this many beats for people to feel that moment. Whereas when I'm dictating, then I have to go back and kind of put those in
Do you
there.
like represent that with your cells? Like I'm trying to think of like what I've read of your
I mean,
work and how that works there.
When we're sitting at that table, I will show you in my books places where I was like, okay, this thing happened, so I gave it this much space. As opposed to like having a quick conversation that's not like huge gravitas for the story. It can just be like one head, talking. But then, you know, you say something huge, and then it's just, we give a huge expanse for as many pages as we need to.
Thank you. Has any of you ever tried to write in another genre, like poetry for you and prose for Samiya, for example? Fiction.
I mean, I'm not really good at genre. I kind of splinter across genres all the time. The new project after the book that's coming out in the spring is definitely prose, but, you know, and there's prose in this book, but you might call it a poem. I don't know. You know, the installation piece, I call it a poem. And so, you know, genre and materiality and all of that is something that I think I choose to fit the poem.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I would write in prose. I just started doing comics more because my zine readers really liked comics. When I put comics in there, they were like, ooh, I like writing reviews. I've done some screenwriting before. I wrote like a fictional show about a cat in Portland with a friend. I wrote the scripts for my podcast, which was a whole, like, it was like me working with journalists and writing scripts for something that was really different. Middle grade graphic novel that's fiction, that's about a kid who fakes her own death to get away from her crappy parents at the Oregon coast. And so that's fun to work in fiction after doing my, you know, just chronicling my own life for so long. I'm sure it'll be a relief for my mom until she reads the log line. And she's like, to get away from her crappy parents. It's gonna be more of the same. 1 star across the board.
And I just, you know, I just feel like we're also just in a moment where like the line between like fiction and nonfiction and poetry and like making something up versus truth versus fact, it's really complex and permeable in a way that I think we can argue about, but I like to poke at it, you know, see what happens there.
Thank you both. At what point do you actually put your work onto the computer? Do you do all your revisions also by hand? And do you put it on when it's like, it's totally done?
I wish this wasn't live streamed. I am a murderer of trees. I print everything so much because I have to deal with the paper. I have to deal with the ink. I have to deal with the material. I have to deal with my hands on it. And so, yeah, like I will put it in the computer. Sometimes I'll start things on, like it's not like I've never written something on the machine. But, and typing something that's already been written out is such a whole other process. But still, all edits are by hand for me, even no matter how digitally I make the thing. Like I print out video stills. Like I'm so sorry, trees. I love you so much. But yeah, it's definitely a manual thing for me.
I love editing manually.
Yeah.
I had my editor for the young adult graphic novel sent me my edits, and I paid like $40 to have them printed out at Office Depot so I could just look at it.
Yeah.
And just look at it. And I love Frankensteining stuff.
Oh, I love it.
I love talking students who I'm like, just cut it. Yeah. Just cut it.
I still have red and blue pencils, even
yeah.
though that predates my actual life. But I'm like, I'm an editor in the 70s.
Anya likes that. You're doing a paste up in your house.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Anya, come out or don't. I will just, oh yeah, come on out. Come out. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yay. There you go. Yay. All right. Now you don't have to talk about it anymore. Oh, sorry. Now her nail's cut. Okay. That wasn't the answer to your question. The answer to your question from me is I draw physically. I do thumbnails, which is like the really quick, dirty version just for me. I do thumbnails. I draw it really quick in a notebook. And then I do pencils that I can send to an editor that are more legible. And I basically just take a picture of those with my phone scanning app, send her a PDF of that. I don't scan until I have to scan, which is generally like something that needs to be revised in an inked version after many edits. And so when I scan those, then I go into Photoshop or whatever and fiddle with the text or make edits in there that are like the last minute edits that couldn't be done by hand in any of those processes.
Another big round of applause for Nicole Georges and Samiya Bashir. Don't forget, they will both be signing books at the back of the room, so check out the books that are available. Take a look at our exhibition and come back tomorrow. We have another great faculty talk with artist Autumn Wallace and writer Michelle T. Very exciting. Thank you very much. Have a great night.